The CESM, the Community Earth System Modeling Project, we do produce a lot of simulations of variations in climate over the 20th century, projections of climate into the future. We also actually provide the climate model itself. So people can download that climate model, and scientists in the university community or government labs can use that model for their own scientific purposes. Probably the number one use for that is to study the climate system. So people use that simulation output to investigate how climate varies over time, to look at issues of climate change attribution, what's causing changes in the climate. And not only do we do this for present-day climate, but we also produce simulations for things like the last glacial maximum, so looking at climate of the past as well. For sea ice, so I think the primary use of the model simulation output is to look at climate and to study the climate system. But more and more people are also using the simulation output to do studies on impacts. And as someone who studies Arctic sea ice, there's a lot of impacts associated with Arctic sea ice. So I've worked with wildlife biologists, people who study polar bears, linking things like changes in sea ice conditions or projected changes in sea ice conditions to polar bear habitat loss. So those kind of more impacts-related studies, I think, are a growing use for this kind of simulation output from these models.